200 in optional, right? Or even if you score 220, 230, 240, even then you have a chance to get into IAS by getting rank in top 100 or even top 75. So 800 plus 215 in interview or 200 plus in interview, I think you will be under top 80 or top 90. Am I right? Has anyone checked last year mains plus interview score? Can anyone cross check? So what was the marks of mains plus interview of 100 rank candidate? Maybe you can just Google marks card of any rank 80, rank 90. Hmm? 1099 is the marks of first rank. Okay. What about rank 100? 992. So 800 plus 192 in interview, right? Am I right? 800 plus 192 in interview, your rank is in top 100. And if you have to be in top 75, another 15 marks here and there, right? 15 marks more. So that comes to 192 plus 15, 207, right, in interview. So I was right. So 800 plus 206 plus or 210 in interview will land you in IAS. I am talking about general category, and of course, so OBC, SC, ST, definitely it is ensured. So why I asked you to start writing the questions and why I asked you to look at the questions is that this is, we know that the importance of all the question papers, previous year question papers. Somewhere I see that candidates overlook them, kind of ignore them. They know the importance, but yet you don't you take them for granted, right? They are not part of your routine thinking. They are not part of your routine practice, right? So you get carried away with so much of notes making, current affairs, so much of, courses, and there is so much of dependency, right? On so many other things like classes, coaching, and test series and everything. But when you look at these question papers, right, I think they actually give you confidence, right? When you repetitively look at these question papers and when you start comparing question papers of 23, 22, 21, and when you start comparing the marks of top 100 achievers in UPSC, so you see that 800 plus 190 past 4 years, as far as I understand, has always landed someone in IAS, because that is the dream for most of you, some IPS and IFS foreign service. And I have seen that the question themes are repetitive in mains as well as in prelims. I am talking about themes. There is always a question on women from different perspective. There is always a question on education from different perspective. There is always question on parliamentary committees or parliament related issues, right? So if you go on analyzing from paper 1 to ethics paper, right, what I see is that basically 60% of these questions are already leaked. They are with you actually. Before you write the examination, 1 year before or whenever you choose to start practicing, the questions for the next year mains are already available to you. When it comes to optional, I think some optionals like 70 to 80%, right? Those questions are already with you, right? So what it should actually enlighten us, right, is that your practice has to be specific. Your practice should be targeted, right? It should be result oriented. It should be goal oriented, rather than trying to cover each and every part of the syllabus mindlessly, right? So ensure that your practice is such that the accuracy rate is 80%, right? What I mean by is that when you answer 20 questions, right, there should be accuracy rate of 80%. So 16 answers should be perfect answers. So don't target 20 answers, right? So don't go after 20 answers, because this very thinking of going after 20 questions in mains, 100 questions in prelims, what it does to you is that you start mindlessly reading everything that is available, right? So we have this some kind of, it's not about fear also, it is the way we have actually grown up in our education system, right? Targeting the highest percentage, right? Trying to cover each and every part of the syllabus. You should definitely have an idea about all the topics, right? Which actually you will have, right? Now the practice should be in such a way that the target of 900, right, is of the paramount importance. I mean, everything you write, everything you practice, everything you read, everything you revise, right, everything you are going to reinforce through multiple revisions, the constantly with the pursuit of somewhere targeting between 800 to 900. I want you to target 900, right, and that is achievable, I believe. So I will give you numbers, right? I mean, what should be your targets going forward through the core batch, right? What should be your target? Because don't read whatever notes you have, right, and don't try to complete everything you have and just come for the sake of writing test, and don't write mechanically in the class whenever we give you test. There should be a purpose, there should be a goal, there should be a strong desire, right? In every question paper you choose only 2 questions in the first test, but ensure that the marks are above 50%, right? The marks are above 50%. So don't try to answer each and every question scoring only 2 marks, 3 marks, right, in each and every question. So the target are 140 in the essay paper. So can you just write it down? So your target should be 140 plus in the essay paper, right? So this is I am talking from the perspective of UPSC mains marks, how UPSC evaluates. When you write mains, that is the target. I am not talking about target in insights tests, right? It can vary. You can score 120 or you can go on to score 140 also. So what are the targets in our test? I will give you that separately. So this is the target that should be imprinted, right? 140 plus in the essay paper, 100 in GS paper 1, going by the last year marks I am talking about. Before that people were scoring 110, 120, but I saw that somewhere around 100 is the highest marks, right? Paper 2 120. So paper 2 consistently is rewarding, has been rewarding, right? Paper 2 120. Paper 3 again 100. It's very difficult in paper 3 to score 100, but I am putting at it 100. Paper 4 ethics 130. And optional 260 marks. I'm not giving you 300 target, right? 260. So what is the total? 8 850 850, right? So 850, and in interview 170 also. I think you are in top. No, 170, don't write the 170 target. In interview it should be 190 plus, right? Write 190 plus in interview. With good guidance, with good training, 190 plus is achievable in interview. So 190 plus in the interview. So the total comes to 1040 something, right? I think 1040, I believe top 30 or top 40, I think. All India rank top 30 or top 40, right? And of course, there is prelims. All these numbers gain significance matter only if you crack prelims, right? So prelims paper 1, 100 plus should be the target. Paper 2, 120 should be the target, so that at least you end up scoring 80, 90. So don't just go with the mindset of, passing the paper. We know that 66.6 is the number, but I see that most of the people after giving CSAT come and tell me my score is around 70, my score is around 68, 69, 75. Even those students who used to think that, they were good with the CSAT paper. The first thing they used to tell earlier times, I am an engineer, sir, like CSAT is, right? So now nobody actually tells that after like last 3 CSAT papers. So be ambitious in those 2 paper also. Paper 1 performance, the GS prelims paper 1 performance, based on my experience of so many core batches and core batch students who have cleared. So what I believe is that definitely prelims practice requires, but the success in that paper solely revolves around or depends upon maximum number of tests that you are going to write as part of the core batch. If you write maximum number of the tests, which means maximum number of answers, which definitely will cover maximum number of topics. So all the topics which overlap with the prelims are definitely going to be covered in prelims, in all the core batch mains examinations. And when you target maximum number of tests and maximum number of questions, you are targeting not just getting with, familiarization. You are not trying to familiarize yourself with the topics here. You are trying to retain content to write 150 word answer as well as 250 word answer. So if there is a question between what was the contribution of Maurya and Chola, right, architecture or literature, whatever it is. So you are trying to remember, I think that was for 250 word question last year, GS paper 1. So you have to remember 250 word content for that particular question. So if there is a question between, Tagore and Mahatma Gandhi, so the comparison about their thoughts on education and nationalism, right? So then you have to remember maybe 150 word or more than 150 word. So this process of retention of content, right, through regular writing, frequent writing, will naturally ensure that you are going to score really well in general studies paper 1 in prelims, right? Now this is very important, this particular thought which I talked about, because what people do is that they think that prelims is whole different game, right? So I have to do maximum number of MCQs, which definitely you have to do, but they think that solely doing only prelims related preparation, reading multiple times Lakshmikant and other textbooks, your notes, solving MCQs without writing answers, right, is not going to help you crack preliminary examination. This is crystal clear and it should be imprinted in your minds, right? So I see many students compartmentalizing preparation. Till December, I will do answer writing, and after that I will only focus on preliminary examination, right? Earlier we also used to conduct core batches till April. So then we started seeing that after January only 2-3 people started coming and writing. So we thought that till January 31st we will keep the core batch timetable. But after that also, my recommendation is that at least try to write 2 to 5 answers every day. 2 to 5 answers every day. You can pick questions from secure initiative, right, or any source, right? So you can align them with your prelims preparation. So let us say that you are starting with modern history for prelims, right? So whatever modern history mains questions you can pick up, or which you can generate using what? ChatGPT, AI. The questions are available anyways, right? So based on the importance, significance, and based on the certain topics which are recurring in current affairs, right? So if you closely analyze, most of the questions that appear in UPSC mains are somewhere drawn from last 2 to 3 years current affairs, even in static part, right? Some remote article might have appeared, right? So they are not without any significance, right? All the science and tech questions, right, they are actually related to certain issues, like it can be pollution, right, or it can have larger significance to entire humanity. They won't ask very specific, very minute micro questions, right? So when you start prelims preparation after January 31, you should continue to do answer writing at least till April, right? And in this core batch, we are going to conduct overall 148 tests, 80 prelims and 68 mains tests, 68 mains tests and 80 prelims. So 80 prelims includes CSAT as well, right? And when it comes to mains, we are going to conduct 20 essay tests, 20 essay tests and 19 ethics tests. So overall 39. So the target of achieving 140, I think writing 20 essay test means I think you are going to write at least minimum 30 essays, right? So we have 2 topics in all the essay tests, right? Am I right? So 40 essays, 20 essay test, 40 essays in the span of how many months? 4.5 months, right? In the span of 4.5 months, you are going to write 40 essays. Writing all 40 essays sincerely without skipping any of these tests with the target in your mind, right? So we will have separate essay orientation. Umesh sir, he will also do, and I will also come and do separate essay orientation. So how to gradually achieve the target? In the very first test you cannot achieve, but gradually you can achieve that. So the moment you start getting 60 plus in our evaluation, in your essays, right? Take it for granted that you are definitely going to score 120 plus or even 130 plus, we don't know 140 plus also. That is the minimum. So if you start getting 60 plus, we are very conservative when it comes to essay. We are not at all satisfied because we have our own demand when it comes to essay paper. I want them to be deeply analytical. There must be an element of critical thinking in each and every essay. There must be originality in essays, right? I don't want to see all the used and abused examples in your essays. I want individual effort to be seen in individual essays, in all of your essays, right? So picking examples from topper, the toppers are nowadays writing books, right? How to answer writing and essay writing. So you use that as your primary source, and like you, lakhs of people are doing the same thing, right? When some of them are filtered and writing mains, right? We see similar examples, and all of your scores will go down. All of your effort of 1 year, right? Worshipping the topper and getting content from that book will go into the drain. Don't do that. Instead, put individual effort. So I have kept saying, like Sunday magazine, right? The Hindu magazine is that I am recommending because it has more original content, new perspectives every week. It has got book reviews every week, right? Some of the value addition which you can make in your essays is in front of you. The Hindu you read till Saturday very religiously. Sunday what do you do? I mean, you skip that magazine part, right? The supplement. You may read the main issue, but I think you skip that magazine. But ideally, in addition to that, you should have the extra reading habit also, right? Now you don't have time for that. What you can do is that read articles, written by thinkers, topmost people in their respective fields, right? Like that in literature there are great authors, right? In social activism there are great people, right? When it comes to feminism there are people, experts. So they'll keep writing articles. You should know the sources, primary sources, right? Have you ever gone through EPW magazine? Anyone? Economic and Political Weekly, right? Selectively you can read articles from it once in a week. EPW. So we used to read, and when we used to read these magazines, the questions used to be useless. I mean, used to be very fact heavy questions, direct specific questions. The questions were not analytical. Now the questions demand more of analytical and critical thinking, but what people read are only facts nowadays. I don't know how it got reversed, right? EPW magazine, if you can read those articles, understand those articles, and if you can start using the thoughts and ideas in those articles in your answers, you are at somewhere between 850 to 900 figure, right? So you will see great articles related to society, economy, polity, relevant for all GS3 papers, right? So once in a week, just go through 2 to 3 articles, right? So without originality, without individuality, without bit of creativity in your essay, you are not going to score 140 plus. So that you have to start developing, right? How you are going to develop is that frequent practicing. So once in a week, every Sunday we are going to conduct essay exam as part of the core batch. But every day, what you can do is that for how many minutes you do the brainstorming for essay topics? 15 minutes. Every day do at least brainstorming for one topic, right? One topic, or you can go for 2 topics also, minimum 1 topic, 15 to 20 minutes, do the brainstorm, right? So you will know what is the nature of the theme which you are going to write about in the coming week. So choose those kind of previous topics, right? Now if you look at the essay topics, they are not straightforward, right? As you only said, the mathematics is the poetry of reason, right? It demands the knowledge of mathematics deeply, right? It doesn't, I have seen many people writing more about poetry than mathematics in that essay. Basically it is kind of an analogy. It says that mathematics is like poetry but of reason, right? So you should also know the philosophy of reason, moral philosophy, right? Or political philosophy related to the reason. The knowledge of reason, the philosophy, the knowledge of literature and the knowledge of science, that is mathematics. So if you possess knowledge of these 3 disciplines, then only you can write a good essay about it. So you don't learn about mathematics except for knowing 1 or 2 examples that to be included in the essay, right? Maybe you will learn only that much. But can you also read 1 or 2 articles about the nature of mathematics, right? Nature of mathematics. So somebody has said that, you know, it's the poetry of the reason. Somebody might say it is the music of reason. Someone might frame it that way. And then comes the knowledge of, you know, little knowledge of music also, about the notes, about raga, tala, whatever it is, little bit of it, right? So then you can draw certain, you know, conclusions based on your knowledge. So we don't do that. We are with what is there in the syllabus, I mean whatever that is there in the syllabus or whatever was taught to us in the coaching, right? So don't do that. Knowing psychology, for example, psychology is the most ignored discipline, you know, in UPSC preparation. So I strongly believe knowledge of little psychology is extremely important for you to do really well in essay paper as well as in the ethics paper, right? Knowledge of psychology is very important. So that also we ignore, we don't read. So the articles may be around us, you know, every day they appear in some format. So read little basics about psychology and you know, for all the qualities, values that you learn as part of the ethics syllabus, there is also a psychological dimension to them, right? Am I right? There is also little psychological dimension. So instead of just thinking from moral philosophical dimension, can you also check a psychological dimension of those values? So there may be a theory about it, right, given by a social psychologist or, you know, some psychologist famous. So you can learn. So don't just stick to that attitude part that is there in the syllabus, go beyond it, right? So these are the things, plus knowledge of English literature, right? So unfortunately, you know, I don't know, like past few years people have stopped reading any fiction, non-fiction books. We used to, I mean, not just here, in Delhi also, I think the large pool of UPSC aspirants don't have any kind of reading habit, right? How many of you read novels, fiction, non-fiction? Very good. So what kind of fiction you read? Non-fiction, like novels, that's fiction. Yeah. So what kind of novels you read? Atomic Habit is not novel. Good, good. You read at least. Good. What about you, Shreya? Science fiction you read. Very good. What about you? About personal biographies. Okay. Self-help books. Okay. So my personal suggestion, nothing wrong in reading self-help books. We know that they won't help you, right? But still nothing wrong in, because you gain some insights, some perspectives about life and your personality. But move beyond self-help books, right? Reading self-help books, still a good reading habit, but that won't help you in the examination or in life also, right? I mean, the very purpose of reading is to enrich our thinking, right? Enrich our perspectives, to know the many dimensions about it. Can be related to life, it can be related to an issue, right? So to understand, to know the other dimensions of the issue, what we call as viewpoints, perspectives. So if we get enriched with them, so we will have multiple options to choose from them, to write different ideas in our essays. So if we are not exposed to them, our essay will always draw inspiration, examples, ideas only from the general studies content that you read every day. I see example of freedom struggle in every essay. You give mathematics is music of reason, there is freedom struggle example. Somehow they will identify, like some example from freedom struggle, like somehow we will put it here, right? I mean, from poetry angle you can pick an example maybe, right? So don't do that. So the moment you start choosing your example from what is obvious, obvious means what? Common for everyone, it is so common, right? Obvious is so common for everyone. So if I start seeing what is obvious in your essays, so I'm not going to reward you, I'm going to punish you, right? Because there is no originality, there is total lack of effort from your side. You haven't put any effort to enrich yourself, to be more creative, to write something different, right? So if you are sitting as part of the core batch, and of course you are in the core batch because you are ambitious and you want what? You want to get a rank. And as I started by saying, you want to be in the range of, let us say, 800 to 900. So we calculated 850 is something that can be achievable. So if that is the goal, everyday preparation should be such that you should have your own unique content for all the papers, especially for essay and ethics papers, right? Essay and ethics, 140 there, 130 there. So it's a wonderful paper, essay paper. Very less effort, but maximum gain, right? So imagine the effort you are going to put for the essay paper to ethics paper and compare it with GS2 or GS3 or GS1, right? Or even to one of the optional papers or both the optional papers, right? So both the optional paper or one of the optional paper, how much effort you put? So essay paper, there is lack of effort. So start putting efforts daily, 15 minutes brainstorming, and another 15-20 minutes think from the essay perspective. Whatever you are reading or any extra reading, you start doing it, do it, okay? Because the moment you achieve 130 plus, 140 plus, right? So that enhancement in your abilities, which you will eventually achieve, that actually starts, we start seeing that in other GS papers also. Your introductions will not be lame. The way you write introduction, the way you write conclusion, they will also be of superior quality, of the better quality compared to other candidates. Do I make any sense here? Can you relate to this, right? Because introduction is not definition. What I see some people recommend that also, I'm against that. Introduction is not the place where you just write the definition. You randomly pick up a keyword, not randomly, you pick up the keyword which is most familiar from the question, even if there are 3 to 4 keywords. You define only one keyword. Have you done that? Some of you? I have seen that. Even people who write mains, they do that. That is not the introduction. The introduction is the place where you introduce your answer to the reader. your answer, entire answer is introduced in the introduction. Does it make sense? Huh? No, it doesn't make sense. Entire answer is introduced in 2 lines in the introduction, right? By reading your introduction, I should totally get what to expect. I should totally get an idea of what to expect from your answer. The depth of your understanding will be visible in the introduction, right? So what are you going to all the parts, right? Is there any new perspective, right? Have you totally understood the essence of the question, the exact demand of the question, right? All of them will be visible in the introduction. The introduction should not be factual, it should be analytical, right? Factual introductions are not introductions, right? In the essay, you can start doing that. In the essay, introduction is the place where you write context and the significance. The moment you write the context, I know that you have understood the background and the demand of the question. You know certain background about the question, and also you have understood the demand of the question, right? And then significance, the significance of the topic in the question. So that should be written in the introduction. So the moment you write that, I know that you know about this question, you know the answer, right? And you own the answer. So we will know it. Introduction should never be ignored. So with respect to that, whatever tests you are going to write. So today is what test? Art and culture. Next test is art and culture. So take last 10 years. Anyway, sir is going to talk about. Sorry, ನಾನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಮ್ದು ಒಂದು. So last 10 years art and culture questions, right? From the mains question papers. Have you done that and come here? Huh? How many of you did that? 1, 2, 3. You just came? Acha, you didn't prepare. For every test, first prepare for the previous year question papers. Even for the next test, whatever art and culture questions that have appeared in last 10 years, first master them, right? There is a reason why UPSC has picked up, there are like, what I heard is there are around 12 committees spread across India. Nobody knows who are these people. So they supply questions. And then the UPSC, there is another committee, nobody knows where it sits and who are these people, picks up just 3 or 4 questions only from art and culture, which should be included in that year's mains question papers. So there is a lot of thought process, research, right? They choose those question papers, those questions, right? And if you're ignoring those topics, right, so you're not doing justice. So first pick up those topics and master them. So what you can do is that, she said that she just glanced through, right? So every day pick up, if not possible to do entire answer writing practice for those questions, at least write introductions for all the questions. And if you can have access for more questions like that, just practice writing introductions, right? Read the question, brainstorm about the question, every day write introduction, and for all those topics, collect the best possible introduction. It can be from NCERT textbooks, it can be from, you can Google. So whenever you Google, please, for God's sake, don't visit any UPSC websites for your content. Visit the Hindu paper website, right? As I said, EPW and any think tank websites are there where people have written. So there you visit, there you will actually get beautiful, meaningful lines. So if they have written 6-7 words in a sentence, they will have so much meaning. So that kind of lines are required in your introduction. So for every topic, right, collect such introductions and keep ready. The moment I read your introduction, it is kind of heartwarming. It is like we get excited. I get excited. I become so happy when I read good introductions, because the moment I see introduction, I imagine a candidate who is suitable for the job, right? They have that critical thinking abilities, analytical thinking, right? So they know the issue in and out. They have the depth of understanding about the issue. So that is visible in the introduction, right? And your thinking is unique. So looking at your introduction sometimes, increases our respect for the candidate. You got the point? So don't write lame introductions. So in the beginning you will struggle, because writing good introduction is an art. It takes lots of practice. So every day you can pick up like 3-4 questions, just write introductions. So you can come and show also to us, and as part of this core batch we have taken only 50 admissions, not more than that. And myself, Umesh sir, Ashish sir, and Aditya sir, and one more, Pradeep sir, I think. So there are like 5 mentors only for 50 students. So we will be available to check your answers, including me. I will also be available. So every week I am going to be minimum 4 days. I will be available, right? On the day of Sunday, I won't be available, but weekdays, come. We can just show the introduction. So we can discuss, and we can improvise your introduction, right? So because whatever you have heard, you will be still thinking, okay, what is that good introduction, right? It depends on each and every question. So when you come and show the question and the introduction, what you have written, we can improvise it. So I will tell you, no, this is what was there in my mind. What I am expecting from you is something different, something more, a better introduction. So then you can go back and again start practicing, right? So that kind of you should make use of the mentorship, and this applies to all GS 1 to 3 papers, the better introductions and as well as better conclusions also. Now conclusion should not be thus and repeating the question, right? Thus and what is there in the question repeating, that is not the conclusion, right? The conclusion, so if you have done little research, you will know that all these descriptive questions are actually called as essay type questions, right? Anything where you write more than 150-200 words, they are categorized as essay type questions. So it is essay type question, means it's basically an essay. All the GS answers you write, right? Most of them are kind of mini essays, and the conclusion should be meaningful, right? So what I recommend usually is that if the way forward is not asked in the question, the most significant way forward could be part of the conclusion. Part of the conclusion, not, it should not be the conclusion, part of the conclusion, right? And in addition to that, the futuristic perspective, right? What is being done or what could be improved in the future, or what could be the implication, whatever, based on the nature of the question, right? So the futuristic perspective and the solution, right? These two can be added in the conclusion, right? Or it can also have a critical element. I mean, you shouldn't be sarcastic or anything. It can be open-ended in the essay question, basically. In the essay paper, it can be open-ended. I mean, you leave it to the imagination of the reader. So I will come to that when I discuss, because conclusion is a very tricky area. When we discuss the essay question paper, we will discuss what are the different type of conclusions that you should be writing. So some people have this, the story I start. Again, don't start with story in essay papers. How many of you have written essays so far? Any essay practices you have done? Okay. How many of you have started your essays with stories? Anecdotes? Most of you start your essays with stories, right? That is being told you, that is fed. Start your essay with anecdote. What is that anecdote? No, what does it convey, that anecdote? Huh? It's not relating to the topic, it is the topic. You justify the topic, right? You write a story in support of the topic. So then you say that is the introduction. So after the story, put a full stop, right? The essay is over. You have justified the topic, right? Right. So that is not the introduction. Story can be part of the introduction, but story itself should not be the introduction, right? And some people recommend writing 2 stories. They have something called thesis and antithesis. So one in support of the topic, the story, and another story against the topic. So you write 2 stories, scene 1, scene 2, story 1, story 2, case 1, case 2. Don't do that, right? So you may be imagining, thinking that you are writing wonderful story, but I've seen so many of those stories, and it irritates a lot, right? So when I think from my perspective, I think from an evaluator's perspective. So if an evaluator or a group of evaluators are evaluating 12,000, 13,000 candidates essays, right? Imagine their situation, right? Seeing the same content, same approach in each and every essay. So they will be searching for one individual, who is original, right? Who is not the product of coaching, who is not the product of herd mentality, right? So even if there is no coaching, there is herd mentality, right? So that is what the delight of an evaluator is, a more original content, right? More original thinking that should be there. So you have to gradually, the same things are instructed to evaluators also, right? So you have to gradually overcome your old ways of writing, right? The introduction should be, so what I say that when you write introduction, each and every line should be meaningful, right? Each and every line should be an idea in itself, right? Single word should not be wasted in the introduction, right? You can write 70 to 90 word introduction, but it should be meaningful. So there, the context, little background, the significance of the topic, what is your understanding of the topic, plus what is your view on the topic. Not just writing the understanding of the topic in the introduction, you should also write about your perspective on the topic, right? So that is what matters in the essay, your own perspective on the topic. So there should be multiple views on the topic. Essay is your view on the topic, right? Essay is not justification of the topic. So paper 4, when we come to paper 4, the first section is literally, the what I labeled as small mini essays, especially quote based questions. They are kind of essays itself, 150 word essays. Whatever dimensions, perspectives you need to bring, similar thing you have to bring in 150 word essays. It should not be again one example justification of the topic, another example against the topic. What you write as an introduction in the essay, you are writing that in the 150 word answer in ethics papers. If somebody has practiced, you may be able to relate to what I am trying to say. Has anyone practiced ethics section A answers? So people write stories there also, right? Stories of bureaucrats, stories of great people. So one in support, one against, right? Or two stories in support of it. No, they should be reasoning. Ask a question, right? Comment on the quote. What is your own comment? What is your own little analysis on the topic? So they ask in the context of public service, in the context of life itself. So from that context, you have to comment on them. So that also we will discuss. So we will have discussion on that, how to write answers. And case studies should be more original. What I see, one element missing in most of the case studies is the ethical justification, right? People write course of action, but they don't ethically justify. Ethical justification of case studies, what do I mean by is that there should be a theoretical justification, right? Moral philosophy, a theory, a thinker, philosopher, right? And they have given like educator, thinkers, leaders, administrators, the topic is there, right? So there may be a precedence, there may be a theory or something that should be given as justification for your course of action. So your course of action has certain justification. So it should be ethical justification. And case law, if you know certain case laws, you can quote case law. And the third, constitution, right? From the constitution you can draw justification. So why you want to act in this situation in this manner, right? And sometimes it can be just the mention of a moral story also. You don't have to give a story, it can be a famous moral story, just the mention of it. At least 2 to 3 different contrasting justifications. No, contrasting means unique, right? No, not antagonizing each other. What I'm individual in its sense, the examples. So one from case law, one from constitution, one from moral philosophy, and another can be a moral story or something. Another can be from the life of a great people, right? If you have read biographies or something, you can quote that also. So in that situation, he had acted or she had acted that way, which resulted in maximum benefit or something. So, and another element missing is that people don't empathize with all the stakeholders. So you get carried away with the protagonist itself, right? So I see that when you write the course of action, there is not mention of all the stakeholders, or you don't, empathize. Empathizing in the sense that what are the issues that affect all the stakeholders? Are you going to address them also, right? That is not done. That is not done because while reading the case study, you go with the question that is there in the end. If the question is not asking what are the ethical issues, you don't think about ethical issues, right? While reading the case study, compulsorily think of all the ethical issues that are there in the case study, right? So that also you have to practice. Now we have 12 years of question papers, right? So take all the case studies and start analyzing, start writing only ethical issues. The moment you are able to figure out all the ethical issues, right? The very purpose of writing answer is to resolve these ethical issues. The course of action is nothing but finding solution to these ethical issues. You are addressing these ethical issues, right? If you are not identifying ethical issues, if you are not able to identify ethical issues, all of your answer will suffer, right? To identify ethical issues, you should have long list of all the ethical issues, right? Different cases, different ethical issues. So you have to think and collect such kind of content. So don't make notes, from topic wise. Pick up one case study. It can have, intersection of multiple topics, right? It can involve multiple conflict between multiple values, right? Testing of multiple qualities. So all of them, when you bring them together and start thinking about ethical issues, that is when your thinking matures, right? That is when that maturity will be visible in your answers. So you have to do this brainstorming maybe once in a week or every day, just like essay. Do this because 130 plus is your goal, right? That 130 plus goal can be achieved only through this way, not by having this stepmotherly treatment to, these ethics paper, like once in a while, whenever there is a test, you randomly check and come. Don't do that, right? Master the keywords, master the ethics jargon, right? Those keywords. So by reading, so Britannica Encyclopedia has wonderful articles, right, on all the ethical issues and ethical case studies, and websites like Harvard, Cambridge, they have certain answers to ethical case studies, and some MBA programs will have similar case studies, and they would have prepared answer, right, with structure. You have to refer to them, right, to get an idea about how to deal with such case studies. So don't just merely fill your page big diagram, stakeholders, totally useless. You don't have to write that. One line you can write. No need of diagram for stakeholders. I mean, is thinking involved there? Huh? When you write stakeholders with a big diagram, any kind of thinking involved there? If thinking is not involved, don't write it. I mean, you just should be insignificant, right? Where thinking is involved, so highlight it. You got the point. So where you are putting your brain to work, so highlight it. And every case study will also have context, right? Or even if there is no context, try to bring context. It can be historical, it can be present, it can be some current affair, it can be a context in someone's life. This might have happened, you have read it somewhere, right? Try to contextualize. So anything, if you are able to fix a context to all these kind of questions, that will actually get you an extra mark, right? Even essay topics, if it's a quote by a certain author or a poet or a philosopher, and that is also a context, and if you know beyond that from which book it was derived, right, what was that book about, right, You have to do that little research, pick up all the quotes, read about the author, the thinker, the writer, poet, whoever has given that quote, very briefly about that individual. Try to remember 2-3 works of that individual also. Similarly, all the moral philosophers you come across in ethics paper, the quotes, right? Read about them, about that individual, right? And their works also. This is the extra effort that actually will reward immensely. This is not done by 99.9% of the aspirants. Nobody does it, right? If we can do and start showing that, right? 130 plus, 140 plus, those kind of marks will start coming to you. And coming to paper 2, of course, mostly current affairs. And paper 3 and paper 1, why I personally think the marks have come down is because of lack of specificity in the answer. Of course, this is general studies paper, but the way people write are too generic, right? The way people write answers are too generic. So you don't exactly understand the demand of the question. You may not have exact examples for the question that is asked. You might have read Mauryan literature or architecture separately. Chola you might have read separately. And I think there was first question last year. It's about what? Geography. Geographical? Yeah, geographical factors. 22. Okay, okay, fine. Fine. What was the first question last year? In development of ancient India or ancient Indian architecture or? Okay, geographical factors. Okay. So now we have to write 150 word answer to that question. Right. Sir will discuss. Sir will discuss all these things. So here in 150 words, what are those unique examples that you are going to give? Are you going to make your answer like too generic? Now ancient India means you have to demarcate from when to when. Within that you have to highlight the most significant, most unique features which are directly influenced by the geographical factors. The answer cannot be random, the answer cannot be too generic. So while reading something about ancient India or geography separately, see, this is the nature of questions nowadays, right? Bringing 2 to 3 disciplines together and framing the question. And these disciplines could be within the GS paper or between GS papers, right? So that is what you have to develop. So you will know content separately, but choosing the best from each of them, synthesizing an answer in 7 minutes, right? So that is the challenge. You can do really well only if you have pre-thought about it, right? Such kind of questions. What do you mean pre-thinking? So before the examination, if you have brought such kind of disciplines together, if you have thought like that, so that is what I meant by enriching of perspectives. When you read beyond your GS papers, so that is when you start developing that ability to link different concepts, link different disciplines. So most of the questions are of that nature. So here one can just write the ideas, right? This is how geography impacted this particular civilization or this particular empire or something, right? But how you are going to justify that, right? That is what I meant by the specificity, the kind of unique examples. Not unique example, the example is already there in the textbook. Are you able to recall and write in the exact context? So that ability you have to develop. So that is the game. Otherwise, most of the people who attempt or who write the mains examination, even in GS1 paper, 60 to 70 you will see majority of the people scoring, right? The toppers might have scored in the range of 90, but other people who didn't make it to the interview might have scored in the range of 60 to 70. Now from that 60 to 70, how you are going to make jump to 90 or 100? The target of 100 is by good introduction, but also by showing good content in your answers, right? So don't come and write mechanically here. Learn, think about them, remember, and try and come and write each and every test. While writing the test, as I said earlier, focus on the quality, not on the quantity. So out of 10 questions, you may be able to write, like 3 to 4 in the beginning. Now don't try to answer 6 to 8 questions. There you will dilute. So even if, again, don't have this rigidity of writing answer within 7 minutes, right? Some questions might require 1 or 2 minutes extra, and it is good actually. It is not bad. That is how we have to develop, because some answers you will not know anything. So there also you will try to give 7 minutes or even 4 minutes or 5 minutes. That is useless. Even if you write 1.5 page content for question which you don't know the answer, you are going to get 1 or 2 marks, right? So that is waste of time and energy. Instead, put that energy into where you know best. So there 4 can become 5, 5.5, right? 5.5 should be your target. Basically between 50 to 55%. That should be your target to be all India rank 1, right? So every answer you write, the target should be somewhere between 50 to 55%. So think that way, and even if it takes more time in the beginning, don't panic, because you are going to write more number of tests. The speed will naturally improve. By January last week, you will be able to write 18 answers in 20 question papers, right? Wherever 20 questions are there, you will be able to write 18 with ease. So of those 18, so I want you to write 14 to 16 quality answers. Write 16, by writing 16 only get 90 to 100 marks. So that should be your target. So in addition to everything, never stop practicing CSAT every day. Never stop practicing optional every day, 1 or 2 answers every day. And the third one is solving prelims MCQs. Both are complementary. Writing answer doesn't mean that you totally leave out prelims practice. So every week we are going to give you prelims mocks also. Please, if possible, come to classroom and solve them in the classroom environment, right? And so don't try to diversify into too many sources, right? So now you are in the insights ecosystem, right? So we have test series, we have this main test. So be satisfied with them, try to be perfect with them, right? Now don't think that this is not sufficient, I will do another test series. You can do it after January if you want, right? Right now, whatever questions you are going to get, daily prelims questions are there on the website, current affair questions, daily static questions are posted, and there are 29 years of prelims questions also. So first master those prelims questions. Previous year, 29 years questions now itself. While writing core batch, your thinking should be, yes, I want to master answer writing. Parallelly, I should be in a position to crack prelims by the month of January as well. Back of your mind, think that preliminary examination is in the month of January, right? If it is conducted in the month of January, are you going to score 100 plus in prelims? How are you going to gauge it? How are you going to assess it? Not by merely reading, right? So in our mock test, you should be able to score 100 plus, 110 plus, 120 plus by solving them in test-like conditions. So if parallelly that starts happening, by end of January, you can be confident that you are going to crack prelims and mains both together, right? So if you do only mains practice without doing prelims, all the mains preparation that you do till January 31 will be undone in the months of February, March, April and May. You get this point very clearly. If you are not practicing any prelims in these months, only focusing on mains, whatever you are going to do will be undone in the month of February, March, April, May. Did you understand the meaning of this? Right? You will focus excessively on prelims with the fear of prelims, right? And whatever you have learned, answer writing and everything will take back seat in a way after, even if you clear prelims, right? Again, you will be starting from zero, right? That long gap. So try to take them together, and when you are confident of prelims in the month of January, you won't be afraid of writing answers in the month of February, March also. There should be continuum, you know, when after prelims, there should be continuity in terms of that answer writing, basically that thinking process. The moment you clear, you know that you are going to clear prelims. So immediately after 2 to 3 days, once you start practicing for mains, the total focus during that time should be with respect to improving the content. Not about speed, not about structuring, not about presentation, right? It's about the 900 marks. Further, how I update my notes, because so much would have taken place, right, during those 6 months. Updating and showing very good content. And you know, when you apply, I recommend dispersing from Bangalore, right? Write exams beyond the Bangalore center. Don't write in the Bangalore. Bangalore auto wallahs beat people here. So, what? Not because of that. It's kind of a logic I have. Does anyone know about this? Yeah. So let us say that all 50 people start writing excellent essays, excellent answers, and very good original content. Now, if everyone are sitting in one mains examination center in Bangalore, right? ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು? Can I give highest marks to all 50 people? Corruption, you know, paper leak ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ. I mean, if I give, no, I mean, that is also, the thought is also there. They actually distribute, equalize. From one center, they ensure that not more toppers are, you know, created, or, you know, whatever it is. So basically what happened, that is not the logic basically, that is also there, but the main logic is that it averages out. When all people write similar stuff, right, the evaluators think this is the standard. I want even more higher standard. So within this pool, who writes even slightly superior, some only the cream of those people are rewarded. But you are more competitive compared to a guy writing in another center, in another city, right? If you go and write in another center, so you will, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಊಳೂರಿ ಸಾರಿ ಆಳೂರಿಗೆ ಉಳಿದವನೇ ಗೌಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಏನು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಯಾರು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನ್? So there is another say, the one with one eye is the king of the blinds or something, right? Something like that. But when you develop good skills and if you go to another center, or a center where more diversity is there, like Delhi for example, so it draws people from across India. They are not the product of one center or one kind of, you know, routine, one kind of practice, one kind of guidance. So there also you have the chances. So it is working wonderfully for past many years. Those who have respect, those who have faith in whatever I am saying, those who have got dispersed and written, they have reached till interview, and most of them have got ranks also. You can validate from the reading room, right? You can ask stories about it, right? So that is when you start applying for the exam in the month of January, right? Feb, yeah. So during that time, definitely do come. Don't be stubborn, right? It's okay to go out of Bangalore and write tests. So wish you all the best, and have faith in the core batch, and practice. ಅರ್ಧ ಗಂಟೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಿ, I took 1.5 hours, I think. So have faith in the timetable, practice, be ambitious. Be ambitious, right? And I can actually give in writing, the one who writes all the tests is going to get a rank. I can give it in writing. Right. The one who writes all the tests plus daily CSAT, prelims and optional practice, that is also there. that you should give in writing that you are going to do. Right? Will definitely get a rank. So that much confidence because it has worked wonderfully, and we used to get. I don't say. I mean, they were not different from you people, but earlier time, what was happening? This kind of answer rating was done in selective locations. So we started in Bangalore, and then people started in Delhi also. This kind of. So serious students write in multiple locations nowadays, but within them, if you want to really differentiate, so you have to be highly competitive, right? You have to put extra effort. It is not like earlier times. Nandini Kr was able to get all India rank because none of the people in the entire India did the kind of practice she did in the core batch. There was no concept like that. Next year we got rank 3, another next year we got rank 5, and after 2020-21 it became universal kind of. Everyone started conducting this core batch with different names, right? So there are people, you should be aware of this, right? But within that, how you can maximize, how you can improve a lot. So I think the content, more originality, bit of little extra effort, right? And also those who do not have good answer, I mean good handwriting, focus on that also. Thus, don't, it's not insignificant, it's a very significant factor. Good handwriting, good presentation. Don't write just for the sake of writing, right? So try to write beautifully, try to write, present your answers in a very beautiful way. I mean, what I mean by beautiful way is that, looking at the answer, that also gives a good impression about an individual. So discipline, right? The skills of organizing things well. So all these things, right? And ability to convey what they know in a more presentable manner, right? In a more visible manner. So wish you all the best, and welcome to core batch. So from today you are going to start the exercise, and be consistent. So from our part, we will be there with you, and this is the desire, like, this is there, like, since Nandini got all India rank 1, I've been craving for it. So I want someone to get rank 1. I don't know anyone sitting in this room. It's a possibility, right? So whatever guidance you need in that direction, we are going to give you, and all the support. And you can use the classroom to sit and study here. If you want to discuss, above there is also space. You can go and discuss, right? So all the best. Thank you.